Am I the arsehole? For arranging childcare far away from my wedding reception. I got married this summer. And while I wanted a child-free wedding, I realized that this would exclude a lot of my friends and family. So I came up with what I thought was a good compromise. I rented out my brother's indoor playground and paid the staff to work late. Basically, I paid them double time until midnight whether there were kids there or not. They are all trained in first aid and have all been screened by the police. On top of that, several of the older kids that didn't want to go to the reception stayed there as well to keep an eye on everything. As well as 2 ladies from my church. I also provided food and drinks. The problem is that the playground was about 2 miles away from the reception. So you basically had to choose between leaving nude kids there or bringing them with you. I figured that it was a good option for anyone with kids that might get rowdy. Anyone with infants obviously wouldn't leave them there. Boy, was I wrong. People were mad that it was so far away. About a 5-minute drive. They were mad that the kids didn't get the same food as the people at the reception. No, they got pizza, nachos, and fried chicken. They were mad I didn't have someone to watch nursing babies. I was cool with people bringing babies to the reception. There was a mother's room at the hall for nursing and changing babies. I have been called all kinds of names for what I honestly thought was a nice thing. My husband said we should just have gone child-free and dealt with that hate instead of wasting money on ingrates. My aunt actually called me an arsehole for not wanting a couple of dozen screaming and crying kids at the reception. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. Not the arsehole. 2 miles? When I read your title, I was thinking it was like a 45-minute drive and anyone with smaller kids would be worrying. This is so not an issue. Not the arsehole. Not the arsehole. This is the best solution I've heard on here from anyone who wanted a child-free wedding. You provided multiple options for people to choose from. Put the kids there where they have fun with others their age, get your own babysitter or stay home. Whoever still had a problem was looking for one. Also, who gets mad at different food options? What you provided sounds way more kid-friendly than what was probably at the wedding. Not the arsehole. Oh my gosh, what a generous and lovely thing to have arranged for the children of your family and friends. I would have had a blast at a place like that as a kid. I would have thought the parents would have appreciated a free night out off. What is wrong with people these days? Not the arsehole. That sounds like a lovely compromise, and I bet the kids were happier there than they would have been at a wedding reception. Let's face it, not many 5-year-olds really want to sit through a long ceremony and a bunch of speeches, or to eat fancy grown-up wedding food. My kid self would have much preferred the pizza also. When you said it was far, I was picturing somewhere much, much further away, that 5 minutes down the road, smiley face. Not the arsehole. At least now you know what whiners you should avoid inviting to any future events. When did everyone become entitled to their vision of perfect, free, immediately accessible childcare serving the menu of their choice? SMH. Info. In what backwards reality is 2 miles considered far? I'm reading comments like, what if someone's kid got injured and they're all that distance away? Well then, worst case, when no motor vehicle is functioning, you can sprint and be there in 15 minutes. Not the arsehole. Not. Other than the complaints, did the reception turn out as you wanted? Definitely not the arsehole. You went way beyond what most people do for child-free weddings. You are honestly a superstar of a bride. Your family friends sound like a bunch of ungrateful people. I am inclined to think your husband is right, that you spend a lot of money and still were totally hated on. Honestly, this is amazing. You went way above the call of duty and people are awful. Not the arsehole. Mom of 4, I would slam dunk my kids in that indoor playground and then add whatever I would have spent on a babysitter to your wedding gift. What a thoughtful, considerate solution. Bonus, I guarantee the kids were happier with pizza and play equipment than at a sit-down dinner. You sound like an incredibly thoughtful bride. Not the arsehole. I'm sick of parents acting like they need to take their kids everywhere. I hate that they don't want my kids at their wedding and then acting foolish when childcare is arranged. You did more than I would have, you were gracious. Not the asshole. They got free babysitters, their children would have an amazing time and they can calmly enjoy the wedding. People are stupid. Not the asshole. They can say whatever complaint they like, but what I hear is your childcare option means I can't get wasted because I have to drive to pick up my kids. Not the asshole. This is the perfect definition of give an inch and they want a mile. A 5-minute drive isn't far away. It sounds like they essentially expected you to have a child room at the reception where they'd get the same food and the parents could go check on them between songs. Not the asshole. People are jerks, you did a lot more than many would, enjoy your life and congratulations. Not the asshole. Wow, how ungrateful can people be? What's the chances you could find a suitable, ready-made venue any closer? Very low, I think. Not the asshole. People suck. This is such a wonderful idea. But yeah, can't please everyone. I guess child-free next time jokes. WTF? Your arrangements were perfect. I think you're bloody amazing. I've never heard of anyone going to that effort and expense for wedding guests. Usually it's just child-free, and parents make their own arrangements. As others have said, it seems a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Please don't let people bring you down. You went above and beyond to try and be accommodating. Definitely not the asshole. Oh, and congratulations. Far away. A 5-minute drive is far away. Are y'all in Texas? Because that sounds like something my native Texan friends would say. Smiley face. When I clicked, I was thinking like across town or 20 or 50 miles. Seriously though, not the asshole. 2 whole miles? You monster. JK. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My mom always said, no good deed goes unpunished. Sorry you had to deal with ingrates. Not the asshole. You went above and beyond for these kids. Screw the people who complained. If they thought it was fine, they would have found something else to complain about. I wish you a long, happy, healthy life together. Not the asshole. If I were a kid I would have preferred this over the wedding reception. Hanging out with kids my own age, black tick mark, 100x better food, black tick mark, no parents, black tick mark. I thought this was very thoughtful and well thought out. You would have thought it was a win-win. Nata. I hate the idea of child-free weddings, but yours was fucking awesome. People take note. If you want a child-free wedding, that is how you do it. Props to you. Not the asshole. Honestly should have made it fully child-free at that point. I also sure hope those people who were upset about the distance never leave their kids anywhere that is not right beside them with their attitudes. Not the asshole. That honestly sounds like a perfect solution compromise. Parents don't need to choose between finding a babysitter and staying home and getting the chance to relax and have fun at the wedding. Kids'll have a blast, and I bet the kids are much happier with their food options. Not the asshole. You did a great thing. Anyone who was upset about it should be on your list to cut out of your life and go no contact with. How entitled and ungrateful they were. Not the asshole. 2 miles isn't even that far away. If they cared that much they didn't have to go. Woman shrugging. But you still got screaming and crying kids at the wedding. It sounds like they're very big screaming and crying kids. The so-called adults being and whining about the arrangements. You're right about them being ingrates. It sounds like you had a perfect setup. Not your fault you have so many adult relatives that act like toddlers. Not the asshole. This was incredibly thoughtful and generous. I'm sorry your guests are giving you flack. Not the asshole. If someone else is paying a very qualified person to care for and feed you children and all you need to do is drop them off. Why are these people mad? They are jerks, not you, Not the asshole. You provided a lot for the kids. A 5-minute drive is nothing. Someone is always going to complain.
Am I the asshole for firing one of my babysitting clients? I 17F babysit part-time and have been for the past 2 years. In that time I've gotten some regular families who'll have my babysit. One of my first clients was Mackenzie. She's 21 and has a 5-year-old daughter, Allie. Her mom and my mom are close friends. She was one of my first clients, and because I was doing it as a favor to my mom, I gave her a reduced rate, $10 hour. My other clients pay $15.25 hour depending on how many kids they have and the kids' age. Recently I decided to fire Mackenzie and stop babysitting Allie. I babysit Allie at least once a week, if not more. Over the summer I was basically Mackenzie's daycare plan, where I agreed to take care of Allie while she worked for $200 a week. I'd also babysit her on the weekends a lot so Mackenzie could go party with her friends. After a few weeks of her coming home hours later with not text or warning, I told her that I'd begin charging her double for every hour she's late. So if I was supposed to babysit from 7-Eleven, that'd be $40. But if I was supposed to babysit 7-Eleven and she came home at 3 a.m., then she'd need to pay me $120. She wouldn't pay more than the $40 unless her mom made her pay, or her mom would pay it for her. She kept coming home late and began to stop paying me. I kept track and sent her a text telling her that unless she paid me what she owed, I wouldn't babysit Allie at all. She did after 2 weeks of me not answering any requests to babysit, but I decided to fire her anyway and tell her I won't be babysitting for her again because of her refusal to pay me. Also, without babysitting Allie so much, I can babysit for other people who pay more. My mom and her mom are really upset since she can't afford other childcare, and they keep telling me just to babysit for her and they'll make sure that she pays me or pay me for her. Am I the asshole? So, your mom is upset that you won't let someone take advantage of you for free labor? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Mackenzie is an obvious asshole. Both moms are assholes too for not recognizing failure to pay worker for work done as an extremely serious issue. Can't afford childcare is not your problem. If Mackenzie's mom is upset, she can just give Mackenzie money for childcare. Not the asshole, you gave her fair notice of what was going to happen. She messed around and found out. Not the asshole. Both moms and Mackenzie are being gross and attempting to gaslight you into thinking that Mackenzie is somehow the victim, when she's been taking advantage of you while getting a sweetheart deal. You don't owe her anything. Tell your mom that she's welcome to babysit for Mackenzie if it's so important to her. Not the asshole. You aren't her friend. You are already giving her a discount and she not only doesn't appreciate it, she's abusing it. Don't babysit for her anymore. Since your mother and her mother are mad at your decision, tell them they are free to do all the babysitting themselves. Not the asshole. Why are your moms so keen to enable her bad behavior? You were giving her a deal and she took advantage of you. Let her figure it out. You are running a business, not a charity for Mackenzie. Mackenzie took advantage of you one too many times, and now she will have to find somebody else to watch her kid if she wants to go out and party till the wee hours. Maybe your mama will step up, since your mama feels so sympathetic toward Mackenzie. Not the asshole. If it matters that much, your mom and her mom can babysit for free or close to free, while she's out working and partying and not bonding with her own daughter. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, however it is you handle the interactions. The core is that you're being taken advantage of for cheap labor. If your mother is upset, it's because she looks bad to her mom, not because you're looking out for your own interests. You should be the one that decides when and how you babysit for people. Your mom should respect you for that. Not the asshole. If she can't pay you for your time, then she needs to find other options. Not the asshole. Mackenzie needs to grow up. Not the asshole. You're already giving her a reduced rate, so she should be more considerate. You're not the asshole even if you just didn't want to do it anymore. Another option, I haven't seen it yet, anyway, is to say our previous contract is finished due to late payment. In the future, I charge however much you charge other people for a child Allie's age. I do not do overtime. If you are ever not here by the time you said you would be, I will call your mother to come cover and our business relationship will be permanently terminated. If any of the three mothers has a problem with that, the problem is hers and should not be yours. Not the asshole. She was trying to take advantage of you. Good for you for sticking to your guns and refusing to babysit for her again. If she can't afford other childcare, she can get her mom to help out. Seeing as she is prepared to help pay for you to babysit, she should be prepared to help pay for someone else too. Not the asshole. You should work for whomever you want and on the terms you want. You communicated what was up. She was unhappy. Oh well. That said, I am curious about the arrangement. It seems as though you had been charging her for the agreed upon time, say 7-11 instead of the actual time 7 whenever she got home. Is that right? If so, why didn't you 1 just up your rate, and 2 charge her for the time you actually spent babysitting? Not the asshole. Tell your mom you're not bending, and if that hurts her friendship with the other mother, then you're both rid of 2 cheap sakes. Not the asshole. If she's arranging childcare, she needs to pay for it in a timely fashion and treat you with enough respect that she's letting you know if she's going to be late. A few minutes is one thing, but hours late is far different. If she wants and needs care for Ally, there are other places she can go. She's taking advantage of you through the relationship your moms have. She's going to learn quickly that others won't extend her the same leeway. And if her mom is so worried about her finding care for Ally, she can volunteer. Not the asshole. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. The world is full of people who will take advantage of you if you let them. Not the asshole. And maybe explain to both her mom and yours exactly why you are firing Ally. She's a mom wanting to act like a college kid, and you're an actual teenager who sounds more responsible and clear-headed than all the other people in this story. You don't have to take jobs from people who won't pay you fairly. That's not your problem. It's theirs. How about the grandma babysit and get taken advantage of? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't babysit for people who don't pay and or don't treat you with respect. Info. Why do you need to pay the consequences for her bad choices in life? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I wouldn't babysit for her anymore. She will continue to take advantage of you at the low rate. And yes, you are probably missing out on income at the higher rate, possibly even losing clients to another babysitter because they have been available. Ask your mom if she would work for someone who devalued her constantly. And would she keep giving up more money from someone else to allow this person to continue this bad behavior? Not the asshole. Why are they coming after you instead of the deadbeat daughter who takes advantage of you and treats you like an unpaid servant? Stand your ground. Tell her mother her daughter is behaving abominably and you want nothing to do with her. Not the asshole. Your mom and her mom are awfully generous with your time and money. Let them babysit. Not the asshole. Tell your mom and her mom to babysit for her. Am I the asshole for telling my parents it's their responsibility to look after my brother? Not the asshole. Your own life is draining away. You need to get out and live your own life. It sucks for your parents. But he's their child and not yours. Not the asshole. Move out and go extremely low contact for a while. Not the asshole. You are corrected, he is an adult and he has parents. Move and start living. Not just surviving. And stop giving them money. Not the asshole. Becoming a caretaker for a loved one is a whole different ballgame. It changes the relationship. You have to take care of yourself. Your parents need to figure this out and your brother needs to take his meds. I am sorry you are going through this. It is not your responsibility. Your parents may still be grieving your other brother. But they are going to have to do both. Not the asshole. Get out of there now before this ruins your life further. Get out and go back to college. Live your life. Not the asshole. You need to set some boundaries and draw a line in the sand. Family does not mean being the doormat or scapegoat for your parents and brother. Good luck. Make a plan. Get your stuff together and get out. While I feel bad for your parents, this isn't your problem. I've been where you are up. With my own loved one. That illness is a wicked one. One that unfortunately, sometimes, hurts those around them. The choice is yours, but ultimately it is your life and your needs that need to be put first. Always. I'm now 2 years out of that situation and thriving and happy. Seek therapy and maybe look into treatment for PTSD. It's common to develop it after living with an unstable person. Loving someone is still possible from afar. 3. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry this has been placed on your shoulders. You won't be able to take care of anyone after your parents are gone, including yourself, if they don't allow you to grow and prosper now. Yes. Tell them you can't do it on your own. And have a conversation with your brother when he is on the meds about how he is off the meds. You've only got one life. It's okay to choose yourself sometimes. Get out fast or this will be your forever life. Not the asshole. How the hell did they take $10,000 from you for bills for 1 year? I would ask for most of it back. Not the asshole. They need to put him in a home if they can't take care of him anymore. When you have children, they are your responsibility, not that of your other children. Run. Run as fast as you can. If your brother is an adult who chooses to remain unmediated, it's not anyone's responsibility to take care of him, not yours or your parents. Not the asshole. If your parents have power of attorney over him, they can have him declared mentally incompetent and have him detained. You need to leave this situation. You are essentially being held prisoner by your family. They are abusing you. Leave. Not the asshole. This life you're living is slowly killing you. Leave now while you can and rebuild your life. Your parents and your brother will figure things out. I'd take a new job and move. And I wouldn't even leave a note. You don't have a life of your own now, and this role as caretaker has so isolated you. It's making you feel guilty. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And if you have the means to just move now, you should do that. Like, pack what you need and just leave. They can't stop you and they aren't your responsibility. Get as far away as you can and cut them off. Not the asshole. Obviously. Read what you wrote. I know he is your brother. But realize the situation you are in. Why do you keep yourself in this situation? Remove yourself from the picture entirely unless he takes his medication. Tell him you will do just that. Tell your parents you will not be his caretaker anymore. Move out. Can Adult Protective Services do anything for him? He and your parents will have to figure something out, and I am sure they are capable of doing that. But why would they when they know they have a free nurse? Run. Run far and fast and quietly. Get out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Get out. Get out right now. The longer you stay, the harder it will be to leave. They need to find state resources to assist them. You need to go live your life and he's their responsibility, not yours. Not the asshole. And you need to move ASAP. Not the asshole. Stop giving them money. Your family is just using you. Move out ASAP. Even if you have to stay at cheap hotels or couch surf. Don't keep making excuses. Just leave and figure out your life once you're free and safe and block all of them. Your brother is an adult that's refusing to take care of himself. None of them are your responsibility. Not the asshole. Please, for your own health and safety, leave. Move away and don't look back. Your brother is not your responsibility. Op. You needed to move out yesterday. Can you afford it? If not, bide your time until you can afford it and simply move. If you can hire a storage spot and move your non-essential items a bit at a time so you can basically just move in less than an hour. That would be good. 2. There is no negotiations with terrorists or unreasonable family that has parentified you to the point you cannot understand that your health and safety are at risk. Not the asshole. Op, I say this with all seriousness. Pack your shit and leave. Once you do go and see with your parents. The fact that they are using you, literally sucking the life from you, is horrific enough, but the fact they expect you to take care of your brother for the rest of your life is so damn selfish. You wouldn't be the asshole if you lit out at midnight with just the clothes on your back, moved to a different state, and changed your name, phone number, and email address. Plastic surgery optional, but also not the asshole. Dear enabler, you are not the parent as long as the actual parents are physically able to care for their child. At age M34, this no longer child is able to care for himself, including self-medication. However, to validate his condition, take a video of him during a reaction. Ask him how the family may help. Your parents are way out of line asking you to assume their implied roles. You are not abandoning your family by living your life. Nor should you be on call. Medication will manage the condition along with regular medical visits. Not the asshole. Run. Run fast and far. Not the asshole. Move out today. The situation is killing you and destroying your life. I'm sorry for your parents, but he is their responsibility. When they try and guilt trip you into returning and taking over for them, you will have to go LC. You need to just leave. This is not your responsibility. Not the asshole, but you need to figure a way out of this situation. Not the asshole. Please move out as soon as you can. You will not be happy in this house as long as nobody will take responsibility, especially your brother himself. Girl, run. It's not your responsibility. Period. You already did way too much. Not the asshole, but your parents absolutely are. If you're shelling out money while trying to save, then this is not a mutually beneficial situation. As it was presented to you. Go take care of yourself and your future. It must be clear that no one else in your family will help you with your future. It's up to you. You've helped how you can. No sense in going down with the ship. And lastly, it's not your responsibility to ensure your brother has care. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. X200B. Move out. And escape. And go no contact with your parents. X200B. They have exploited and abused you far too long. Don't tell them your new address. This is horrifying. Please get out of there. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for blocking an Airbnb's view of my home? I've already posted this asking for legal advice, but thought I'd ask for moral advice too. Last year we bought a historical property with a fair-sized chunk of land. The previous owners had ran it as a small hotel but couldn't keep up with the pace at their age anymore. We turned the property back into a private residence. A main country road runs right by the longest edge of the unfenced garden, so we decided to plant hedges for privacy and to block off access in case my nephews visit and play football, etc. There is a small gardener's cottage right at the edge of this line, which was sold separately when we bought our home. We made sure to keep any bushes between us and them on our side of the property line. We were unaware that the elderly couple had sold the cottage to a relative of theirs and that he had planned to turn it into an Airbnb. We only know this now as after a summer of growth the owner had finally noticed the small hedge and realized what we'd done. He and the couple have sent official-looking letters stating we are impeding their reasonable enjoyment of the property, as they had planned to market the cottage as part of the property with views of a historical landmark, and once our hedge is full height that view will be greatly diminished, if not almost entirely gone. So am I the asshole for potentially damaging someone's income by planting these hedges? Not the asshole. Unless they plan on paying you for your landscaping and upkeep of the historical property that you own. Marketing their property as being able to look at yours 24/7 sets you up to have your privacy violated. They know they don't have any legal leg to stand on, or they would have gone that route instead of sending you fake letters, which could be illegal depending on context. Not the asshole. Nip this in the bud. Get a lawyer and have them send an official letter to them to not harass you. This is your private property now and they have no say on what you do with it. Not the asshole. Their plan was to make money by having people look at you in your private home. That is not reasonable enjoyment. Not the asshole. They had planned to market the cottage as part of the property with views of a historical landmark. Too bad. We are impeding their reasonable enjoyment of the property. No. You're impeding their enjoyment of your property. As is your right. I have a right to your property for my viewing pleasure. Lol. S not how it works. You're not the asshole. Not the asshole. The very reason you need the hedge seems to be the main enticement of the Airbnb. Their primary marketing strategy is to sit and watch you, to infringe on your privacy. They're perfectly illustrating why you need the hedge. To protect your privacy from the staring eyes of their guests. Enjoy your hedge. I'd put up a private property sign on their side if the hedge, just to add a bit of salt. But that's just me. Or hang a big screen TV with a live cam of the local sewage treatment plant. Are they paying you a fee to use your house, a tourist attraction? Not the asshole. Put up cameras and keep an eye out for them distributing things around the hedges which all die suddenly. Nope. It's your property, you can do what you want with it. If that was their plans, they should have bought the historical landmark. As the owners sold it and the cottage buyers didn't buy it, you're fine. Ha ha ha. No. Not the asshole. Reasonable enjoyment of property doesn't include views. Which is why property that can't be built out or have obstructed views is so valuable. What's more, you're absolutely entitled to privacy on your own property. No one else has a right to view you. Lol. No. You're a private person. In a private home. You're not a lion in a zoo. If that official-looking letter had any law firms' names on it, I'd suggest you get a lawyer involved. But that's because they sound like a nuisance. Morally they can F off. NTA. Not the assholes. So, they plan to use a view of your house as a selling point? What will people think of next? They are going to lose any lawsuit they bring. Not the asshole. Airbnbs are a plight on this planet. Not the asshole. This is your home. I don't feel anyone has the right to gawk at your home, and if your neighbor wanted view so badly, they should have bought the property. Not the asshole. Your property, your hedge, your rules. Not the asshole. What you decide to do on your side of the property line is of no concern to your neighbors. Put up a security camera, because there's a good chance the hedge will mysteriously have something happen to it. He and the couple have sent official-looking letters stating we are impeding their reasonable enjoyment of the property, as they had planned to market the cottage as part of the property with views of a historical landmark, and once our hedge is full height, that view will be greatly diminished, if not almost entirely gone. So am I the asshole for potentially damaging someone's income by planting these hedges? Oh, look, more people that want to use someone else's property, not the asshole, and tell them to cry mad about it. Can you buy them out? Feel free to start a nudist colony of only elderly men. I'm sure there's someone that wants that view. Not the asshole. If you wish for privacy on your property, that is what you should do. If others want to sell tickets to view your house, well, you have no obligation to help. Not the asshole. Your property is not a prop for their business. You owe them nothing. Keep the hedges. How dare you ruin our investment by protecting your privacy? We wanted to make money by having people look at your residence whenever they wanted. Not the asshole. Enjoy your privacy. Not the asshole. Nobody has the right to demand a view of your private residence. They'll just have to change their advertising. Not the asshole. They are trying to make a profit by infringing on your privacy. I would highly suggest also putting up a fence, so their guests do not wander into your garden. Just check with the city zoning first if you are not allowed a fence to add a row of very thorny landscaping to keep people out. Your neighbor hosts are tush. 1. They are Airbnb hosts. Period. 2. They depend on a property they don't own to make their shitty side hustle profitable, and are offended when your peaceful enjoyment of your property isn't convenient for them. Not the asshole. Airbnb is a cancer in our housing supply. Not the asshole. They assumed. Not your problem. Sounds like their problem. Not the asshole, and their official letter is garbage, but I'm sure you've already gotten that advice. Fuck people who buy property just to Airbnb it. Not the asshole. That's laughable. Tell them they are lucky you've chosen to go with the prettier but higher maintenance hedge as opposed to a taller wooden fence. It's your property. You're allowed to have it surrounded by a fence. Not the asshole. Not a lawyer. But I gotta say, I doubt this is a legal thing. Their plan to market cottage of view of your property, they would have had that in the sales contract, I would assume, which I also would say they did not, as this seems to be a huge surprise to you. Not the asshole. Morally, you're fully in the clear here. They made assumptions. And as everyone knows, when people make assumptions, they make an ass out of you and MPTION. Not the asshole. Stand strong against people like this. Not the asshole. I'd send back an official-looking letter about how you find it incredibly disturbing that they plan to market a cottage as having a voyeuristic perspective towards a private yard where minors are expected to play. Lol. So not the asshole. Not their property. Not your problem. Am I the asshole for refusing to help fund my wife's friend's wedding? Hello Reddit. My wife's friend is getting married in a month. My wife is a bridesmaid. I am not a fan of this friend, but that's just me. So I'm gonna move on to the real issue. This friend wants to have her dream wedding according to wife, but is a little short on money. My wife had told me that friend would like some donations, and if I was okay with her donating about $3,000 in USD. I told her no. She accepted my decision, but my friends are saying I'm an asshole because donating wouldn't affect my financial standing. I'm now wondering if I was actually in the wrong. Reasons I don't like said friend. When my wife and I were dating, she always encouraged her to leave me and that she could do better. Has made many remarks about my physical appearance. I have eczema, so my skin can get dry frequently. Also, I itched a lot as a kid, so I have bruises and cuts on my fingers and arms. So Reddit, am I the A? I'll try my best to answer any questions. It honestly doesn't matter whether you like the friend or not. You don't have to donate money to anyone for any reason, especially not for discretionary spending like a wedding. If she can't afford the wedding she wants, she needs to have the wedding she can afford. It's absurd to ask family and friends to donate money to fund your wedding, especially thousands of dollars. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This friend of your wife sounds like a piece of work. This her wedding, not yours and your wife's wedding. If this person wanted her dream wedding, she should have saved more money for it. You are not a bank for your wife's friend. Stand your ground. If she wants her dream wedding, then she can save up for it and pay for it herself. A lot of us have dreams that we actually need to work for. Not the asshole. How entitled is your wife, friend? If you can't afford your dream wedding, wait till you can afford it or do a cheaper wedding. I would never ask a friend for money for a wedding, no matter how rich they might be. Not the asshole. The bride is ta. It is not the responsibility of guests to pay for the wedding of your dreams. No thank you. Refuse to discuss it further. Only losers ask friends to help pay for their weddings. Not the asshole. WTF is with weddings that make people spend money they don't have? Definitely not the asshole. It's not just about the money but the principle. If she hasn't been cool with you in the past, you're not wrong for not wanting to chip in for her dream wedding. Not the asshole. 3,000 is a lot regardless of how you feel about them. They're not even family. It's so cheeky of them to be asking for everyone to donate so they don't have to give it back. They can save the money they need like everyone else has to. You are not obliged to give them any money. Everyone calling you an AH is an AH themselves. Not the asshole. No matter how much money I had, I wouldn't contribute to the wedding fund of someone I loved. Never mind to someone I didn't like. I firmly believe that parties should cost within the host's means. Not the asshole. What is it about weddings that make people so entitled? The bride should adjust her expectations. You having more than $3,000 doesn't mean someone else deserves your money. We all want our own dream wedding. And ya know what? Somebody has to pay for it. It looks like your wife's unpleasant friend has you pegged to help fund her party. What does your wife think about this? And what about your friends telling you should cough up $3,000? Because you can afford it? How is any of this even remotely okay? WTF. The bride has been abusive to you. She isn't your friend. She belongs to your wife. I wouldn't give her a penny, and if invited, I wouldn't even go to the dream wedding. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Bridesmaids do not fund weddings. This gal is 35. Why didn't she start saving for her dream? Where is her family? The grooms? It doesn't matter why you don't like her, it's her wedding. People with money are not responsible to raise and be Santa to everyone else. Your friends kind of suck for saying you have the cash so you should pay. That's just not true. But stop telling everyone your business and they will stop comment on it. Not the asshole. Asking for donations to have an extravagant wedding is ridiculous. Not the asshole. Just because you may be financially able to help doesn't mean you should feel obligated to help. I've never known anyone to ask for donations for a wedding. I've seen a few pitch in weddings for the reception, but not for the event itself. Nonetheless, if you act so generously with the wedding, how much will she then request in donations for the honeymoon? Good to set the boundaries earlier than later would be my opinion. My wife know that's when I'd finished laughing. My response to that request would be not a chance. And that would be the end of the matter. Not the asshole. If they need donations to fund their wedding, maybe they should wait to marry or tone down the wedding. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If you have so much money, give it to the needy, not for the superficial wedding of a superficial woman. Not just hell to the number. 3K WTF? Will she come and clean your house once a week for the next few months? Why is it your responsibility to fund someone else's wedding? They are not even related to you. Since apparently she is seeking donations. Offer $750 to 1K in place of a wedding gift and tell them both to have a nice day. Their wedding is not your burden to carry. Not the asshole. And it's not about liking the friend. You can choose to do what you want with your money. If this friend decides to hold a wedding way outside their budget, that's a them issue. Not the asshole. Geez, what an entitled brat. Not a chance. From the sounds of it, wife made the ask as a duty to her friend. But she might not be all that upset if the answer is no. And she gets to hide behind the op as bad guy. Your wife has bad taste in friends. Have the wedding you can afford. She can kick rocks. Your wife needs to get a spine. She always encouraged her to leave me and that she could do better. Tell your wife's friend that she can do better than your money. Not the asshole. Though your wife is the off for still being friends with someone who is so disrespectful of her husband and relationship. Not the asshole. You only need one treason to say no to someone who asks for handouts. And this one has given you plenty. Not a big fan of your wife either. TBH. Not the asshole. Can't afford the wedding you want, then you have two choices. Wait until you can afford it or make compromises. Don't help pay for anyone's wedding. If they can't afford it, they're trying to do too much, and really the odds are that they will get divorced in the next 7 years, so really just a waste of money from the beginning. Not the asshole. And her friend asking and your wife entertaining it is disgusting. TBH. Who cares how much money you have? She didn't earn it and should not feel entitled to it for her wedding. I've never heard of this before. Clearly not the asshole. This friend is freaking entitled AF. Not the asshole. If ya can't afford a big wedding, have a small one. People need to stop expecting others to subsidize their weddings. Not the asshole. Why do people think they are entitled to other people's money for their wedding? Have people not heard of this concept of living within your means? I really can't even believe your wife asked you to donate, like it a charity or going to a good cause. SMH. Not the asshole. But why is your wife still friends with this horrible woman? Not the asshole. The bride is an AH. Your wife is an AH. I'm assuming your wife knows how you feel about her friend. It doesn't matter what your financial situation is or whether or not you need to pay for their own dream weddings or adjust their dreams. Not the asshole. What your financial status is isn't relevant. She decided to have a wedding that she couldn't afford. That's on her. Am I the asshole for not giving up my seat and embarrassing the woman who demanded my seat? A few years ago I lost my left leg in an accident. I've been using a prosthetic leg since then. And because my family is well off, it is a pretty advanced one to the point where it just looks like I just have two normal legs. Whenever I wear long trousers, which I usually do because I'm really self-conscious about showing my prosthetic. These days I can pretty much do anything I like without issues. Walking, running, going upstairs, etc. The main issue is keeping my balance when there are sudden changes in movement. In places like trains and buses. Which is where the topic of this post comes in. I was riding the train and sat down in the seat reserved for disabled, elderly and pregnant women. It was pretty busy, so there were no other seats available. And a few stops later a woman came up to me telling me I needed to move because she needs that seat and I shouldn't be sitting there. I told her I was sorry, but I needed the seat myself. She got all argumentative that I just need to get up because the seat is meant for the elderly and I'm just a lazy child who is more than capable of standing. I again apologized and said I really needed the seat myself. She left and got the train conductor, who also told me to get up from the seat. I was really done with being treated this way now. So I rolled up my trouser leg, showed my prosthetic and told her I wasn't going to move. She suddenly got very red-faced and mumbled something before she got off at the next station. Am I the asshole? I could have said I have a prosthetic right away, but it's a really touchy subject for me and it makes me feel very self-conscious. That's why I always wear long trousers so nobody can see or has to know. Not the asshole. We're all built differently. I'd have just pulled up my pant leg and been like, you fucking serious? But you did it differently and more politely than would have done. You cannot possibly be an asshole for handling it more graciously than most would. Not the asshole. No one is obligated or entitled to know your disability. You shouldn't have to prove that you belong in a disabled space. Some disabilities are less obvious or even invisible. This woman, and especially the train conductor, had no right to question you. It was inappropriate and unprofessional. Not the asshole. Anyone who wants to take things to that degree to try to get you in trouble needs to be put in their place. You are not required to tell the world your situation. She forced your hand. Maybe she will think twice next time. Not the asshole. We don't need to reveal our disabilities or conditions to every rondo. The train conductor is a proper official, so you did what is necessary. Not the asshole. I'd be fuming that either she or the conductor just assumed and informed you that you don't need the seat. They aren't entitled to know your disability and should, at the most, ask you if you can stand up, to which the answer is no. I am unable to stand for lengthy periods on moving vehicles. The end. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to talk about your health medical status to strangers. People need to check their privilege. Just because it's uncommon for a young person to have a disability doesn't mean you should assume any teenager sat there is doing it selfishly. I've seen groups of teenagers chavs make sure others move for elderly, pregnant or disabled people. They may have hoodies on, but 99 still have a moral compass. In any way. Not the asshole. Invisible illnesses exist. Yes, you can physically show her your prosthetic, but you shouldn't have to, and there are many other people who can't show their illness, like COPD or cystic fibrosis, for one example out of many. There is a fair likelihood that if you casually said, I have a disability, and she would have walked away understanding, but an equal likelihood she would have demanded some kind of proof or demand that as a teenager you can't be disabled or some other ridiculousness. You did nothing wrong. Keep on trucking. Not the asshole. She deserved her comeuppance. So frigging not the asshole. It is wholly unacceptable that she made you go to this level. You are disabled and you absolutely should not be humiliated into undressing to show some dollar hole. The circumstances you live with every day. Not all disabilities are visible or easy to prove. People shouldn't be assuming things, or people shouldn't have to prove something they possibly can't. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. There's a whole subsection of the general public that refuses to believe anyone with an appearance of being under age 30 without a glaringly obvious disability, wheelchair, crutches, obviously missing a limb, is capable of being sick or disabled because they're young. And even if they somehow prove they're sick, the other person still demands they get up because they're young. The woman deserved to be shamed. Not the asshole. I'm sorry this happened to you. See, I would have unseated my leg while she was gone and then gotten up if she came over again and fell over and screamed bloody murder that my leg fell off. Oh, wait, it's a prosthetic. I'm okay. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Lots of people have invisible disabilities such as weakness from chemotherapy. That lady may find herself in your situation someday. We never know when fate visits and says tag you're it. Not the asshole. Not all disabilities are visible or immediately visible. Hopefully that woman learned a valuable lesson. Not the asshole. Those seats are for the disabled, which the elderly may or may not be. Not the asshole. I'm sorry this happened to you. I could have said I have a prosthetic right away. Yes, you could have. But she probably would have said you're lying and you'd have had to show her your prosthetic leg. Anyway, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I have an invisible disability. No should be the end of it. She has no rights to your medical history. Not the asshole. Even if you told her, she would not have believed you. There are a lot of hidden disabilities in this world. My cousin's daughter has MS. She gets dizzy every time she stands up. She has to use the handicap stall in bathrooms because she needs the grab bars. People can be really rude to her about it. Not the asshole. This is an Aviva Drescher moment and I have nothing but respect for you for it. Not the asshole. And hopefully she learned a thing or two about how not all disabilities are immediately visible. As a person with invisible disabilities, thank you for sticking to your guns. Not the asshole. You told her that you needed the seat, which is true. You didn't just ignore her. Or just say no. As others have said, you don't have to prove your disability. You should probably report the conductor for accommodations training. You shouldn't have to reveal your disability. And a lot of people have no physical proof of disability. Saying, I'm disabled and have a right to sit here should be enough for anybody. Not the asshole. And I wonder if you could contact someone at the train company to complain, since the conductor was also blatantly discriminating against you. Not the asshole. But also there's no need to be self-conscious about having a prosthetic leg. I cannot believe the train conductor was just going to tell you to get up. What if you had a completely invisible disability like narcolepsy? Hell, what if you were just feeling dizzy from skipping breakfast? If you felt you needed the seat, you shouldn't have to prove it to anyone. WTH. To avoid having to deal with quite so much idiocy in the future, maybe try making direct eye contact and saying something like you might want to consider right now that someone of any age can have a disability and doesn't have to disclose it to you, which usually will hip check their processor enough to realize they've made an assumption while not requiring you to show strangers your leg. Not the asshole. You don't owe anyone your medical history. 90 of the time, someone sitting in a disabled seat is doing so in good faith. People should just leave people alone. Am I the asshole for not helping my family? I 40 have a good career and assets I inherited from my parents, who died 2 years ago due to COVID. I am child-free and live with my partner. One of my cousin's kid is getting married. I gave the kid a sum as a gift, so they can use it for whatever they need for wedding or save for future. It's not a large sum, but a good wedding gift. Yesterday her parents came over and asked me if I am giving rest of the money at the wedding. I was confused. I said, no, that's the gift. They called me cheap for giving so little when I had so much. I told them I do have stuff. It's something I either made or my parents gave me. I also have my own life. They said since I don't have kids and have so much money, I should be helping my nieces and nephews more, that I can easily afford a bigger gift. I told them what I have is mine to spend too, and I have my own plans for the money, like travel. They said I am a selfish oaf for prioritizing fun trips over my nibbling's future. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, they're being super gross and entitled. Not the asshole, you're better than me. As soon as they would have brought it up, I would have rescinded both my gift and my attendance to the wedding. It's your money. Don't let other people tell you how to spend it. Not the asshole. They're entitled and ridiculous. Not the asshole. They are not entitled to anything. A gift is to be given freely, not extorted or demanded. Less contact going forward. Enjoy your travels. Not the asshole. Your money, your business and your choices. You now know who not to give anything to those ungrateful, greedy people. Your travel plans should not include a guilt trip guided by them. Not the asshole. Not even a nibbling. A cousin's child. A gift is just that. A gift, not a demand. No matter the relationship or the financial situation of the giver or receiver. Not the asshole. Your money, only you get to decide how you spend it. Did they actually ask you to give your cousin's kid all of your money you inherited from your deceased parents? If so, then not the asshole. Giving them a decent sum for a gift is alright. But if they expected you to provide most of their kids' finances using your inherited money when you are their aunt and they are the parents is unreasonable. Sure, you may have a lot of money, but it doesn't mean they are entitled to the money that your parents specifically signed off to you. Otherwise their names would have been in the inheritance. Not the asshole. Let your cousin give the money, after all it's their child. Not the asshole. Like you said, you have your own life. And if your parent meant for your cousin's kids to have the money, they would have left it to them in their will. I really hate this thing people have where people who are child-free owe something to those who choose to have children. People who don't have children do not owe people who make the choice to have children anything, because that was a choice they made. Not the asshole. It's your money and with this your own decision how you spend it. Not the asshole unless your parents had a will and specifically named their children your cousins in it besides you. Then you can tell them to take a hike. And apparently, you have. It is your money, your life, and you will decide how you live it and spend it. Who the hell do they think they are to demand anything for their children from you? How much are they giving to their children now? Inquiring minds want to know. Not the asshole. Don't even respond further. You have no obligation to explain or justify how you are going to use your money. Not the asshole. You never have to give someone a gift for a wedding. Though the closer you are to the person, the more it's expected. But it's a wedding. Your nibbling doesn't need insulin to live or something. They're getting married. You could have just gotten them some random cheap thing off the registry. But instead you gave them some cash so they had flexibility. That's more than enough. Tell your cousins to stop being so selfish and work more hours and get a better job so he can helping out his kids more. His responsibility as a parent, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I hate entitled parents. Especially ones demanding child-free people spend our money in ways they approve of. My response would be I think you should send the gift back, since it's clearly not appreciated, and then decline the wedding. If it's just the parents though and not the kids, I'd make sure the kids know what their parents did, and be clear that you won't take lightly them doing that again. How you spend your money is up to you. First, a child of a first cousin is not a nibbling. A sibling is a niece or nephew. And child of one of your siblings, or your partner's siblings. This caused confusion as a post from a week or so ago. The child who is having the wedding is probably a first cousin. Once removed, your cousin and their partner are acting very entitled. You gave a gift. I was taught that is the thought that counts, not the asshole. I would consider going and see with this family. Good post for our entitled people. You are not the asshole. Why do family members think that because one relative has money, they need to take care of the entire family? Wrong. It's better if they had just asked you for some financial assistance themselves and gave the reason for it. Not the asshole. There are a lot of entitled people in the world who believe that they deserve free handouts from others. You have no duty to accommodate them. Not the asshole. It's your money. Make sure not to send any more money to the rest of the family and inform them that Counson's greedy parents are to blame. Not the asshole. Tell them that it is up to them as parents to help their children out. Not you. What money you have is yours to do with as you wish. Oh my God. What is wrong with people? Not the asshole. But they sure are. If that were me, I'd never speak to them again. Whatever you do, don't win the lottery. Not the asshole. They are entitled for assuming your money should go to their kids. Their kids are not your responsibility. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. How you spend your money is no one's business but your own. They are being entitled. I love it when beggars call other people selfish. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They need to pay for their own kids' weddings. It's not your responsibility. Not the asshole. It is your money, you don't owe them anything. Not the asshole. But you did find out these people have no manners and are entitled assholes. Not the asshole. They are entitled ahs and are being absolutely ridiculous. They brought children into the world. They are responsible for them. They all should be thankful for what they received. I would definitely drop any future gifts for this family. Totally don't deserve anything. Not the asshole. Those kids are not your responsibility. Not the asshole. Fuck them kids, you owe them nothing. Inta. Not the asshole. They are entitled people who look down on children folks until they want the money. Them coming to your place and asking for more money is epitome of tackiness. I suggest you talk to your nibbling directly and get their views on this. If the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree, then you don't need to entertain them ever again. P.S. Call me cynical, but is it possible that they wanted to take money from you and then gift it to your nibbling or pocketing it themselves? Not the asshole. The reason some people have so little is because they blow it all the time. I can't imagine the nerve of them telling you any of that. Your cousin's parents had children and grandchildren. How dare they not save and work extra for their own nibbling's future?
Am I the asshole? For asking a student midwife to leave my appointment and denying her a learning opportunity? I F32 am currently 37 weeks pregnant, and was at my obstetrics appointment yesterday with my husband M33. This is our first child, and I have been quite lucky so far with the pregnancy, but I have been having some unaccounted for pain which is making me quite concerned. I went to the ER 4 days ago, and the doctor on call checked me out and told me it was safe to go home but that I should bring it up at my routine appointment seeing as it was so soon yesterday. Obviously this has my husband and I quite nervous, so I was hoping for some answers when we saw the obstetrician. When I walked into my appointment with my husband, it was the usual Dr. F40S, as well as a younger girl F20S who I had not met before. The younger girl was introduced as a trainee midwife who would be listening in on the appointment. I didn't have an issue with this, although it would have been nice to have been asked rather than having this sprung on us. Never mind, the appointment carried on. The student midwife was not at all confident in what she was doing. It was clear that I was one of the first patients she had seen and she was very shaky and shy. Again, no issues, we all need to learn somehow. My actual issue arose when I was describing the pain to the doctor and the fact it feels like I can't breathe when it hits. The student midwife started laughing when I said that, but the doctor gave her a stern look and she stopped. Then as I carried on with my description and an overview of what happened in the ER, the student midwife said almost to herself, "I have never seen a stillbirth before." I say almost to herself because it seemed to come out of her mouth unconsciously and almost as if she was thinking it and didn't realize she had said it, but I got very upset. I looked the student midwife right in the eyes and told her to get out. She looked like a deer in headlights, but I stood up and told the doctor that one of us was leaving and if it wasn't going to be the midwife, then it would be me. My doctor asked the midwife if she could please leave the room, and she was quite apologetic with me but told me to be understanding because the student midwife was still young and learning. My husband supported me and told the doctor that we do not want to see the student midwife again. The rest of the appointment carried on like normal, but I called my mom F67 in tears when we were in the car. I felt like I had held it together in the hospital, but I just wanted to vent to my mom. She shocked me, though, by saying that I had been unfair to the student midwife and that she needed these learning opportunities so that she could develop a bedside manner. Now I feel a little bad about my reaction, and am wondering if I was not the asshole. You didn't even deny her a learning opportunity. She learned the hard way that her patients are human beings with feelings and emotions, and that she should treat them as such. Jesus, not the asshole. Why didn't the obgyn kick her out after she laughed at your symptoms? Then implying that your baby was going to die? You probably could have decked the girl and you still wouldn't be the asshole. If anything, you taught her a great lesson. Maybe she should look into a different line of work. Not the asshole, this is her learning experience. She'll now be very, very careful about what words she utters when dealing with patients. This is her lesson for the rest of her career. Not the asshole at all. I'm very disappointed that your regular doctor didn't throw that student out. That was an absolutely disgusting thing for her to say. Not the asshole at all, she should have learned the appropriate bedside manner before coming into your appointment. Your obgyn is also partly the as. 1. She should have briefed the student before your appointment and explained what is appropriate. 2. She should have asked for your permission before allowing the student to stay. Edit grammar. If she doesn't know not to say that at this point, I'm not convinced she'll ever have any bedside manner to speak of. There's inexperience and then there's rank stupidity and selfishness. Not glad your husband said to keep her away from you. Not the asshole 1 billion. She laughed about a stillbirth in a professional setting in front of a pregnant woman who was describing a pregnancy complication that has her worried. Who would ever call you TA? I'm also 10,000 sure you have helped improve her bedside manner by asking her to leave. I don't think she will ever do it again. Being young is no excuse for being awful. I'm sorry this happened. Good luck with the rest of your pregnancy and birth. Not the asshole. If she can't shut her trap, she is not entitled to learning opportunities. Having tact is also a part of her training, and until she learns it, she needn't be in any appointments. Edit to clarify. Not the asshole. Of course a student midwife needs to learn. Among other things they need to learn is how to behave in front of a patient. I hope you're okay. Not the asshole. I'd be horrified if someone I was supervising said something so awful. That's the type of comment I'd report to their educational program. If it's a one-off they may get cautioned, but if it's a pattern they're not suited to healthcare. Hope everything is okay with you and your baby and good luck with the birth and parenthood X. Not the asshole. Students need opportunities to learn, that's not at the expense of your comfort. Not the asshole. This actually tells me that she isn't fit to work as an OB, should be in another part of the hospital training if she thinks pregnancy pain is funny, or that allowing thoughts like that to even pop in by simply hearing about pain shows her mindset while learning, but would be suited to other parts of hospital where it's viable for her to understand someone's pain. Keep her thoughts to herself. This is a learning day. She won't forget. A good learner. She learned about what not to do. That apologizes, don't change fact, or always fix things. Good luck through rest of pregnancy op. Not the asshole and your mother is being ridiculous. You can't train a bedside manner onto someone who laughs at pain and gets excited by the idea of, well, you know. The doctor owes you an apology for not asking your permission for that student's presence firstly, and secondly for subjecting any patient to someone so callous and unqualified. Honestly, I hope that girl is kicked out of the midwife program. She has the wrong temperament. Not the asshole. You are the patient and your health and comfort are the priority. You were gracious enough to allow her to sit in, even though, like you said, you should have been asked, not told, and she blew her opportunity. You don't owe her a chance to learn. You handle that perfectly, and hopefully she got a stern warning from the doc after you left. Not the asshole. I was getting a pap smear done, and my male doctor waved in several medical students right before we started, and I had no time to protest. I wish I complained, as it was extremely upsetting. Never feel bad advocating for yourself in a medical setting, and especially not after the student midwife said, "Hoping you have a safe delivery." Not the asshole. Being asked to leave is the learning opportunity. If she cannot control her inappropriate laughter and comments, she will not get very far in a field that requires complete trust and vulnerability from patients. Having this smoothed over, while you left in tears, is the last thing she needs. And either way, your feelings as the patient receiving care trump those of the trainee in your appointment any day. Not the asshole, and being thrown out of the room for making stupid, insensitive comments is an excellent, time-honored learning opportunity that the student has now experienced. Not the asshole. Unsure how it works in the US, but in the UK anytime I've been seen by a doctor, dentist, midwife and there's been a trainee, the first thing they've done is made an introduction and asked for permission for them to either sit in or conduct the examination. That young lass obviously has a lot more learning to do before they let her in a room with patients. Not the asshole. Yes, she needs to learn. She learned a lesson. And you need to feel comfortable in your appointment. Your actions achieved both. Good on you for sticking up for yourself. Not the asshole. I'm not a midwife or training to be, and I know not to say something like that. It's who she is. She won't be in the field very long. Not the asshole. Highly unprofessional. If she can't filter herself, then maybe she shouldn't be in that line of work. The last thing an already stressed mother-to-be needs is more stress. That kind of behavior is unacceptable for someone in her field. Newbie or not. She isn't a child, she's a fully grown adult. Completely her fault and not yours.
Am I the asshole for confronting my ex-husband's new wife over her treatment of my daughter? I find myself in a complicated situation involving my ex-husband and his new wife. We divorced 5 years ago. And while our marriage ended, our priority has always been our 10-year-old daughter, Lily. Initially, everything was smooth. My ex-husband and I shared custody of Lily, and we both made an effort to maintain a friendly co-parenting relationship. However, things took a turn for the worse when my ex-husband introduced Lily to his new girlfriend, now his wife, Sarah. At first, I was happy for my ex-husband to have found love again. But it didn't take long for me to notice that Sarah was treating Lily differently from her own children. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage. And while she's affectionate and kind to them, she often excludes Lily. Lily would come home after her weekends with her dad and Sarah, tearfully recounting incidents where she felt left out, ignored, or even bullied by Sarah's children. Lily's self-esteem took a hit, and she started acting out at home and at school. I tried to address this issue with my ex-husband, explaining how it was affecting Lily's emotional well-being. He assured me that he would talk to Sarah about it. However, nothing seemed to change. Sarah's behavior persisted, and Lily continued to suffer. Feeling helpless, I decided to take matters into my own hands. One day, after dropping Lily off at her dad's place, I asked to speak with Sarah privately. I calmly expressed my concerns and told her how Lily was feeling left out and hurt. I suggested that we could all sit down and discuss how to make this transition easier for Lily. Sarah, however, became defensive and accused me of meddling in her family. She even insinuated that I was trying to drive a wedge between her and my ex-husband. Our conversation quickly escalated into an argument, with neither of us willing to back down. After that confrontation, my ex-husband and I had a heated discussion. He accused me of causing problems in his new marriage and demanded that I stay out of his business. I argued that our daughter's well-being should be our top priority, and I couldn't ignore her pain. In the end, my ex-husband and I haven't spoken since that argument, and Lily's situation hasn't improved. I can't help but wonder if I should have handled things differently. Am I the asshole for confronting my ex-husband's new wife over her treatment of my daughter, even if it strained our co-parenting relationship and led to further tensions in their marriage? Not the asshole. Our daughter's well-being should be our top priority. Unfortunately, only one of you thinks this. Not the asshole. Standing up for your daughter is the right thing to do. I'd ask her what she wants to do regarding visiting, and be prepared for her to change her mind a couple of times. Just let her know that you support whatever decision she makes and that you will love her whatever, so that she doesn't feel that seeing him would be betraying you. But you need to record these events and take him to court for emotional abuse and neglect for your daughter. Not the asshole. Stop sending her. She is old enough to tell a court how she feels and that she doesn't want to go there. If he wants to have a relationship with her, he can pick her up and take her out for dinner and a movie or activities and bring her home after. Not the asshole. Having a talk about it with Sarah was the right thing to do. It only became a confirmation because she chose to. She could easily hear you out and respectfully answer how she sees it from her end. And as a mom, I would expect her to understand your concern and cooperate. But her response hints me that she knows you are right. And the attack and the accusation that you are trying to hurt her marriage is a poor deflection of the real issue. X200B. It's sad that your ex didn't even stop for 1 second to understand whether you might be right, and that his daughter is in pain. Just shows where his priorities are. I have an evil stepmom. Please do all you can to protect your daughter. The abuse will have lasting effects. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And I would ask your daughter whether she still wants to visit them or not, and try and have a conversation with her dad whilst your daughter is there. Lily would come home after her weekends with her dad and Sarah, tearfully recounting incidents where she felt left out, ignored, or even bullied by Sarah's children. This is very, very vague. Is it simply not having enough time with her dad for herself? Or is it they all went to Disneyland without me? Or simply Sarah just spending quality time with her kids and not yours? I was in almost the exact same situation. My ex always took his wife's side and ignored everything she did and said to the kids. I finally got proof of her hidden nasty behaviors when one of my kids accidentally butt dialed me, and I heard her scream at them for almost an hour. Be protective and get her out of that situation. You give no examples in your op. How is she being left out, bullied? Info. What are some examples of how she's being excluded, bullied? What are the ages of the step-siblings? Blended family dynamics are complicated. It's natural emo if Sarah is sometimes doing things just with her biological daughters. Just like her dad should sometimes do one-on-P&E activities with your daughter. And it's normal not to want to include your new step-sibling in everything. Here is an easy solution. Go to family court. Have her say what is happening and how she feels. Get full custody. I know it won't be that easy, but input from the child will definitely help with a custody battle. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't make her go to her dad's anymore. These kinds of wounds can last a lifetime. I've seen it happen to a half-sibling who was mistreated by his dad's new wife. I think Sarah is treating your daughter differently because she's threatened by her as a vestige of your ex's marriage to you. Not the asshole. You handled it as an adult should. Your ex and his insecure wife acted like children. Not the asshole. Your daughter is suffering and your ex is as much use as a chocolate fireguard. H should have been the one to sort it out, but since he simply didn't do that, you are quite right to protect your daughter. Time to revisit your custody agreement. No court is going to look favorably on a situation where a child's mental health is suffering because of the actions of a step-parent and then the inaction of their parent. Speak to a lawyer and follow their advice to the letter. If you have to go to court, you need to make it as straightforward for yourself and Lily as possible. I think Lily needs counseling to get to the bottom of this. 1. She is acting out your words. 2. You are excusing her acting out based on Lily's version of events, but something you haven't witnessed for yourself. 3. Did you get a different version of events from the other house that you don't believe? Either way, it is Lily that is acting out at school and at home. The best help and perspective might be from an experienced family counselor that isn't biased. Nah. Info. Did Sarah agree to be a parent to Lily? How is Lily being left out? Ignored and bullied? Are there specific examples, or are you just expecting Sarah and her children to immediately accept Lily as family without even considering if they want that? Not the asshole. Your ex and Sarah should remember that the kids' happiness should always be a shared responsibility. Info. What types of specific incidents would your daughter describe? Not what Lily felt, but the concrete circumstances that led to the feelings. Reddit hive mind activated, commencing hatred of stepmother without proof initiated. Not the asshole. Time to take action with a lawyer in court. Did you have specific examples of why your daughter was feeling left out? Also, you need to be aware that her relationship with the stepmom won't be exactly as her step-siblings is. How old are her step-siblings? What are examples of being left out or bullied?
Am I the asshole for not giving my nephew half of my inheritance from my parents? Okay, some backstory. My brother got a girl pregnant basically right out of high school and was disowned by my parents because he wanted to stay in the kid's life instead of just paying monthly child support and going no contact. This led to him dropping out of college and working full-time to help support his girlfriend and his future kid. So recently my parents have decided to retire and move to the Bahamas, and they both left their companies to me, which are worth a good chunk of change since I was already working for them. Anyway, recently my nephew and his mom found out about this and inquired if they left their nephew anything. I told them that my parents didn't want anything to do with her or her kid and didn't leave her anything. My brother passed away 5 years ago. I thought that was all that was there to it, but she asked me if I would give her kid my brother's half of the inheritance. Some more context: my parents didn't want my brother to have anything since believe he could make good decisions as the head of a company. I told her this and I assumed that was it since she left. Unfortunately, a few days later she's been pestering me about doing the right thing and giving the kid his share of his grandparents' wealth and has basically been being a massive nuisance. Edit for clarity, it's not legally inheritance, I just called it that because that's basically what they did, transferred the assets I'd get when they died to me a bit early since I don't know any other similar term. Your parents are assholes. Your family sucks, and your parents are awful. Info: I'm curious about if there's any information being left out. Is there something about your nephew's mother that your parents don't like? Their reactions seem excessive. Your parents are horrible people and absolutely are assholes in this situation. Disowning their son for not being a deadbeat was bad enough. But refusing to have a relationship with their grandson after their son died is even worse. Info: your parents have retired, not died, so how can there be any inheritance? Info: did you have contact with your brother and his family after the disowning? Your parents are the assholes here for not acknowledging their grandchild and trying to make their son reject his child. Now you are following in their footsteps. I don't think I'd give her half, but I think any decent person would want their nephew to grow up without being in poverty and want a relationship with their dead sibling's child. Maybe you could pay a monthly amount for child support. Not the asshole. Your parents are for wanting your brother to abandon his son, but that's a separate story. Your brother, prior to his death, was the one responsible for creating a will estate for his child. That being said, the money your parents gave you is yours to do with. Do you have a relationship with the girlfriend, or did she just turn up out of the blue with her hand out? Would your brother want you to help provide something for his child? If so, determine what amount or you feel is appropriate. You aren't obligated to half. Perhaps create a trust to contribute towards his college or a down payment for his future home. You don't have to hand over money, but can you at least pay for the kid's schooling so he can get a decent job? I can't fathom not wanting to get to know my brother's child. Just because your parents are nasty and controlling doesn't mean you have to be. Not the asshole. Your parents are still alive. If your nephew has a problem with what he's getting, he can talk to them about it. Info: I need to know the ethnicity of your parents and your SIL to form an opinion. Editing for you're the asshole and ESH except SIL and the nephew. So, because your brother stepped up and took care of and loved the child he created, your parents disowned and disinherited him. And now you're following their terrible example and refusing your nephew and his mother money they could certainly use, since your brother is dead. Are you a family of cartoon villains? FFS. You're the asshole. ESH except your dead brother. Like just ick, to all of you. Your parents for disowning their son for being present in his child's life. You for wanting to continue that parade, which that's say. Wow. That's a hill to continue up and die on. Pearly gates for all of you, I'd bet. Your parents suck. You can respect your brother's memory and you can choose to help your nephew and have a relationship with him. You can choose to help him financially BCS, you can give him an allowance, make a trust fund for him and generally be better than your parents and help him. Or you can be your choice, your conscience. I'm gonna say it, you're the asshole. Your parents punished your brother for doing the right thing, and you are just as big of an asshole as they are. Not the asshole, but your parents are. It seems to me that the wife found out now that she doesn't have to argue with the in-laws, she can guilt trip you out of the blue. You worked at the companies so you get to keep them. Especially if you've had no steady contact with them. If you want to give him a job or not, that's up to you, but giving up half is a crazy ask. So, I think this is the rare yes but not necessarily wrong. As others have pointed out, there's no obligation to share any inheritance money. But is there a moral duty? Probably. What's legal, ethical and moral are often separate matters. Who needs enemies if they have a family like OP and their parents? Your family is really allergic to doing the right thing, eh? Your brother was the only decent one among you. You're the asshole, you and your parents. You're the asshole. Your brother did nothing wrong but step up and be the parent he should be. You've followed in your parents' point of view. I honestly don't understand how you could share this view. You've been handed a job and now a company. I'm not saying you should give half, but yes, you should give something, a helping hand, a job, something. Do you have to give your nephew some inheritance? Legally, no. The money is yours to do with what you will. Would it be the kind, moral, decent thing to do? Yes. Being legally correct and still being an R are not mutually exclusive. Your brother sounds like a very good person. I am sorry that you all have to miss him so early. It is fine if your parents leave you the business while they are alive. It is not an inheritance, it is business succession. That said, it is horrible that your parents disowned your brother for doing the right thing. You could tell the mother of your nephew that you didn't inherit anything, but when the time is there, you agree with her that your nephew should get your brother's share of what is left of the estate of your parents and that you hope your parents will do the right thing there. You and your parents are awful people. I would be ashamed to be related to any of you three. Inheritance is usually divvied up upon death, not retirement. And when your parents do die, the grandson-nephew can contest the will. Edited to add. Your parents don't sound like very nice people. Your parents are TA in this. So their son is dead. He had a son and the dumbass parents disowned the son because son wanted to be a good parent and stay in his child's life. The only good people from this family are the deceased son, grandchild and the mother of the grandchild. OP and his parents are trash. I know legally you don't have to, but morally you should. You're the asshole. You suck. You and your parents are. How they produced a decent guy like your brother is a mystery to us all. Not the asshole. It seems like you got the money because you worked at their company. People saying your parents are are also wrong and entitled because people can choose whoever they want to give their money to. You are only following your parents' wishes with their money, not the asshole. That being said, you could always set up an educational account that pays for some kind of schooling for your nephew. You could always set it up that he must remain child-free until the education is complete to get the money or something like that. You and your parents sound like bad people. Not the asshole, but your parents are. They punished him for daring to do the right thing as opposed to doing what they wanted. It's not your fault, but I would say that you should take the opportunity to correct a grave wrong committed by your parents. Not half, but maybe pay for his education in full and a stipend. Frankly, help your sil out too. You can afford to be magnanimous. Your parents aren't the best. They disowned your brother for stepping up so legally. There is no share of your inheritance to give to your nephew. Depending on how the contracts was written, you might not legally be able to give them a part of what you were given. It's probably best to see a lawyer to find out your legal options and if your parents have any further say in what happens to the companies. They might be able to take it all back and leave both their children nothing.